Welcome to the Bogosity podcast for the 16th of March 2015, the podcast that never minds the furthermore. This is your host, Shane Killian. Let's French braid the news of the bogus. So we start off with brickbats at uTorrent, or MicroTorrent, which is one of the most popular BitTorrent clients. It's understandable they want to make money. But sometimes writers of freeware and shareware go a little too far, and that's just what uTorrent did. On many unsuspecting users' machines, uTorrent installed an update that put on a cryptocurrency miner. uTorrent has over 150 million active users a month, and pays for itself mostly through in-app advertising and user offers, most of which the users can opt out of fairly easy. Some of them are a little more difficult, but this was something new they were apparently experimenting with, a tool called Epic Scale. And the idea is that it runs a cryptocurrency miner on the user's computer, and that makes a little bit of money for the people who wrote the software. Now, there's nothing wrong with that as long as users are informed that's what's happening and that's what they agreed to. But a lot of users reported that this software was installed without any notification. They started bringing up threads at the uTorrent forums, and the moderators deleted the threads. So they started making complaints on other sites like FreeFixer, claiming that uTorrent didn't tell them anything at all about Epic Scale, but they notice all the performance hits to their computers because of the high CPU usage, which can also cause the computer to overheat and cause physical damage if run for too long. Several users say they were completely vigilant and didn't even see a pop-up asking for permission to add Epic Scale. The Epic Scale team says that they're investigating the issue and they're offering assistance and a $20 Amazon gift card to any user who can provide additional details as to what happened. Torrent Freak was given all sorts of screenshots and other slides and graphics from users showing every step of the install process, where Epic Scale was being installed without their permission, and in one case, the user finally saw the opt-out screen after several reinstalls. BitTorrent Incorporated, who makes uTorrent, said, quote, "In terms of user complaints in our forums, we always take these claims seriously. We highly value our users. They are a passionate and tech-savvy group. In the last 24 hours, we have received less than a dozen inquiries out of several million offers. We have reviewed the issue closely and can confirm there is no silent install happening. We are continuing to look at the issue, but this is most likely these users accepted the offer during install." But that's pretty unbelievable given all the evidence that was posted other places. In my opinion, 3 things have to be in place for something not to be malware. You have to be informed it's being installed, you have to be given the chance to opt out, and you have to be able to completely uninstall it in programs and features. If all 3 of these are not the case, then as far as I'm concerned, it's malware. Now in this case, I'm sure it's just a bug. I'm sure the uTorrent people didn't mean to do it. But still, take some responsibility already, guys! Now it does look like it's been fixed now, but owning up to it and saying, yeah, we screwed up, it's fixed now, will give people a much better feeling about your group and your software than the way you've handled this. Say, if you're tired of the promos in this podcast, well, the patrons got it early and with no ads or promos. Just go to patreon.bogosity.tv and donate at any level. Hackers, terrorists, the NSA. But I repeat myself. Your online security is under attack, and the weakest point is your password. That's why you need LastPass. LastPass plugs into your browser and allows you to randomly generate strong, unique passwords anywhere on the web, all protected by one master password. LastPass sets up in minutes and gives you secure automatic logins throughout the web, synchronizing across all your browsers and all your computers, at home, at work, or on the road. It even securely stores sensitive form data, including credit card numbers, backup sensitive documents, membership info, Wi-Fi logins, and more. And with LastPass Premium, you can get these benefits on other applications and even mobile devices, and also get priority customer support. Sign up at password.bogosity.tv for a free month of LastPass Premium. Log in securely everywhere using the last password you'll ever have to remember. Go to password.bogosity.tv and get LastPass now. Alright, a couple of pieces of good news on the medical marijuana front. First, in the U.S. Senate, Rand Paul, Cory Booker, and Kristen Gillibrand proposed the Compassionate Access, Research Expansion, and Respect States Act, which would move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2, meaning that it can be used for medical purposes. And among other things, would allow veterans to start using it and would finally put a stop to federal raids on medical marijuana dispensaries. You know, just like Obama promised he would do and then stepped it up. 23 states plus the District of Columbia have some form of legal medical marijuana available when the patient has a doctor recommendation. But companies have had problems trying to provide people with this medicine, not the least of which is trying to work with federally regulated banks and other services that are hesitant to put themselves at risk. According to Derek Peterson, CEO of Terra Tech, quote, "Startups in this area have all the same costs as in any other industry. Raising capital, hiring a workforce, dealing with complex legislation which varies from state to state, and competition. Take all of those startup procedures and layer on top the problem of limited access to financial services. That costs jobs and tax revenue. There's also a safety concern. Storing cash on site is putting a target on the backs of employees and business owners. Currently, lots of dispensaries use banks, but they'll do it under the guise of a different company, or they'll deposit a small percentage of revenue and hold the rest in cash. This bill would strike down all federal penalties for the production, distribution, and possession of medical marijuana as long as they operate within the bounds of state law. And no longer will federal law enforcement groups like the DEA or the FBI be used to halt medical marijuana operations. So this is one to keep an eye of and hope it passes. And it also looks like my home state of North Carolina just took the first baby step towards legalizing medical marijuana. In North Carolina's House of Representatives, they've given initial approval to House Bill 78, which will legalize the possession, private cultivation, and distribution of medical marijuana, up to 24 ounces for anyone who receives a recommendation from a physician. Now, this is just the first step. It means the House is going to consider it. It's been assigned to the House Committee on Judiciary. If passed, it would allow grow spaces up to 250 feet of total canopy spaces as, quote, measured by the combined vegetative growth area, excluding any garden space devoted to cannabis plants that are not mature and female, but which are cultivated for the purpose of maintaining the largest and most productive canopy of mature female cannabis plants. It would also authorize state licensed dispensaries that could give patients safe access to the medicine. According to public policy polling, 69% of voters in North Carolina support legalizing medical marijuana. And finally, the House is taking action. It's happening. Very slowly, but at least it's happening. You say you don't like Bitcoin? Why not? Oh, because it's not gold. No problem. Just go to coins.bogosity.tv and you'll be taken to Coinable, where you can buy gold or silver coins or bars with your Bitcoins, with literally up-to-the-minute spot pricing. Now there's no reason not to jump on the Bitcoin bandwagon. Whether you're a Bitcoin miner, service operator, Bitcoin business owner, or market speculator, you can get gold and silver from reputable dealers. And Coinable has Bitcoin liquidity for fast processing of your order. Coinable even utilizes a special shipping infrastructure to ensure that your investment arrives safely at your door. And you know what? By going to coins.bogosity.tv, you won't pay a penny more, a Satoshi more for your purchase. But you'll help this podcast. You can even sell your gold and silver for Bitcoin as well. Coinable is your Bitcoin to gold marketplace. So go to coins.bogosity.tv and start turning your Bitcoins into gold now. And now from our In Other News Water is Wet department, yet another study concludes that homeopathy doesn't do crap, and it looks like this may be the biggest one yet. Courtesy of IFL Science comes news of an analysis of 225 controlled studies and 1,800 papers, which include evidence from homeopathy interest groups all the way to government guidelines, all saying that homeopathy is not an effective way to treat any health condition. Not muscle soreness, not sleep disturbances, not rheumatoid arthritis, nothing. Now, I do have to throw a brickbat at IFL Science for this one phrase. They say that it has, quote, confirmed what many researchers have long suspected. They haven't long suspected it, they've known it. Homeopathy is just water or sugar pills. There is no active ingredient in them whatsoever. And the only explanations of how they can possibly work amount to nothing more than magic. So we don't need places, especially places that are as savvy as IFL Science, pretending like there was some legitimate question about it before now. It wasn't. Bad form, guys. Now, this study was conducted by Australia's National Health and Medical Research Council, and the evidence was assessed by an independent contractor. And according to the report, quote, no good quality, well-designed studies with enough participants for a meaningful result reported either that homeopathy caused greater health improvements than placebo or caused health improvements equal to those of another treatment. Of course, the homeopaths have responded. The Australian Homeopathic Association said that they should do a more large-scale evaluation of an integrated system that supports patient choice. So in other words, they want to look at people who got both homeopathy and traditional medicine. Folks, if homeopathy doesn't work on its own and you have to add in traditional medicine in order for it to work, it's the traditional medicine that's doing it. So apparently this isn't going to shut anyone up, and apparently it won't even budge the NHS, which is still paying for homeopathy, and not to mention all of the states in the United States, which require insurance companies to cover things like homeopathy and other things like chiropractic and acupuncture, which have been shown not to work. The science is just what we've known it to be all along. And sadly, it's not going to make any difference. History is written by the winners, and so apparently is economics. That's why there's LibertyClassroom.com. Probably the best single learning resource for history and economics on the web, LibertyClassroom.com teaches U.S. history, Western Civ, and economics from actual university professors. There's lots of free material to get you started, including introductory lectures on all these subjects, and when you sign up, you get the full site's content for just $99 a year, less than the price of 2 cups of coffee a month. And if you type in the promo code Bogosity in all caps, you'll get your first year for just $88. Lectures are available in both video and audio format, so you can watch or listen to them on your computer, your phone or tablet, or in your car. Learn at your own pace about the subjects you're interested in and become a more effective debater. You'll also get access to lots of supplemental materials and even the professors themselves via the discussion forum and even live video chats. Inform yourself against the myths and propaganda of our society. Visit LibertyClassroom.com. Well, this is something that's needed to happen for a while now. The Wikimedia Foundation is suing the NSA over their mass surveillance activities. They filed suit against both the NSA and the Justice Department over claims that their mass surveillance regime threatens freedom of speech under the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable search and seizures. According to Lila Tredekoff, executive director of the Wikimedia Foundation, quote, Wikipedia is founded on the freedoms of expression, inquiry, and information. By violating our users' privacy, the NSA is threatening the intellectual freedom that is central to people's ability to create and understand knowledge. Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales also commented in an op-ed in the New York Times, quote, These activities are sensitive and private. They can reveal everything from a person's political and religious beliefs to sexual orientation and medical conditions. And in particular, they're targeting the NSA's program Upstream, which allows them to survey internet communications by tapping directly into fiber optic cables. And letting them do that lets them get all the information they want going over those cables, even if they don't have a warrant. Wikipedia's lawsuit says that this use exceeds the authority given to it under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And in Wikimedia's blog post on the subject, they also said, quote, Additionally, we believe that the NSA's practices and limited judicial review of those practices violate Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution. A specialized court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISC, hears issues related to foreign intelligence requests, including surveillance. Under U.S. law, the role of the courts is to resolve cases or controversies, not to issue advisory opinions or interpret theoretical situations. In the context of upstream surveillance, FISC proceedings are not cases. There are no opposing parties and no actual controversy at stake. FISC merely reviews the legality of the government's proposed procedures, the kind of advisory opinion that Article 3 was intended to restrict. Now, it's happened before that people have brought cases against the NSA and had them dismissed on grounds that they don't have standing. Wikipedia has that covered. Quote, "The 2013 mass surveillance disclosures," and these are the ones from Edward Snowden, "included a slide from classified NSA presentation that made explicit reference to Wikipedia using our global trademark. Because these disclosures revealed that the government specifically targeted Wikipedia and its users, we believe we have more than sufficient evidence to establish standing. Wikipedia is written by people from around the world who often tackle difficult subjects. Very frequently they choose to remain anonymous or pseudonymous. This allows them to freely create, contribute, and discover without fear of reprisal. Surveillance might be used to reveal sensitive information, create a chilling effect to deter participation, or, in extreme instances, identify individual users. Pervasive surveillance undermines the freedoms upon which Wikipedia and its communities are founded. If readers and editors are deterred from participating in Wikipedia because of concerns about surveillance, the health of Wikipedia as a resource to the world is jeopardized. Defending the privacy of our editors, readers, and community is paramount to us. We believe privacy is essential to facilitating and advancing free knowledge." And Wikipedia is being joined by several groups all across the ideological spectrum, including the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International USA, PEN American Center, Global Fund for Women, The Nation magazine, the Rutherford Institute, and Washington Office on Latin America. Good luck to you and your partners. Hopefully you'll succeed where many others have run into brick walls. Bogosity.tv and all of its services are hosted at GoDaddy. I've been very satisfied with GoDaddy's services and their wonderful 24/7 customer support for over 10 years now. So I'm happy to be able to give you this special offer. Just sign up for any new domain, web hosting, email, or other service and get 35% off with the code WOWNOBOGON. That's WOWNOBOGON. Because there's nothing bogus about these savings on quality internet hosting. Just go to GoDaddy.com and use the code WOWNOBOGON. And now it's time to double bake this week's biggest Bogon emitter. And this week, it's Cure the Headache by Decapitation time as the Tamil Film Producers Council in India comes up with a devious plan to foil pirates by not releasing anything. And this was discussed at the TFPC General Meeting, where they recommended a complete boycott on releasing films for the foreseeable future. And the foreseeable future seems to be about 3 months. That's the number that's being kicked around the most. According to Council President Kalaipuli S. Thanu, quote, "Piracy will automatically stop when there's no content. When we stop film releases, say for 3 months, the movie pirates will go out of business. We are looking into this option because film producers have suffered heavily in the last 24 months. How does this guy think piracy works? What does he mean go out of business? They're not in business. They make copies and they send them on to others over the internet at basically zero cost. There is absolutely nothing in this that will stop it. The only thing that this will do is hurt Indian filmmakers and other content producers by not having their content released in a timely manner. One person who was unnamed but described as a leading producer said that this will only make things worse. Quote, "Piracy has become a menace, but stopping the release of films is not a solution. Filmmakers are already struggling to find a suitable window to release their films, and now this step to halt release of films will make it worse. Each Friday, a minimum of 3 Tamil films are releasing in cinemas. If you stop release of films for 3 months, we are holding back about 36 films. Post the ban, these 36 films have to battle it out with more films for release, which looks impossible." Also, Indian filmmaker Sharon said, quote, "If an original DVD of a new film is available for 80 cents, Why would anyone think of buying a pirated copy? We all know the quality of pirated prints. I've sold nearly $16,800 in DVDs of my film in the first 2 days. So there are people who get it. There are people who understand that piracy is kind of a bit of a rigmarole to go through, and that all they need to do is make it more open and accessible, not clinging to an outdated business model which isn't going to serve them at all in the 21st century. And thinking that a boycott of 3 months or any length of time is going to deter the pirates at all or put them out of business just shows a staggering ignorance of how the internet works. So that makes the Tamil Film Producers Council this week's biggest Bogon emitter. Bogosity.tv is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.com. Just clear your cookies and go to amazon.bogosity.tv, or check the right-hand side of the podcast page for Amazon's best deals, including the deal of the day and limited-time lightning deals on all sorts of great products. So next time you buy online, go to amazon.bogosity.tv. And now let's hit the quarter panel of this week's Idiot Extraordinaire. And if you were wondering how the Tamil Film Producers Council avoided the big one after all that, feast your eyes on Andrew Hennells, who was caught committing an armed robbery. It's the way they caught him that puts him in our top, or bottom, depending on how you look at it, spot this week. Apparently, he posted on Facebook that he was going to do it. Hennells admitted to armed robbery and carrying a knife as an offensive weapon and is now awaiting sentencing at Norwich Crown Court. Sergeant Pete Jessup said, quote, "It was a bizarre and unusual case. The pictures and posts on Facebook helped us confirm what we already knew." I mean, you would think this would be an obvious thing. If you have committed or are going to commit a crime, don't brag about it. A few years ago, my daughter's school had a bomb threat. Not a nice thing at all. Even though they had no evidence that it was in any way credible, still, that's not the sort of thing you want to take chances about. So they hastily evacuated the students to a nearby church, and I gotta tell you, it was pretty much the definition of chaos trying to go there and get everyone and bring them home. And the school was shut down for 3 days as police went through with bomb-sniffing dogs and the threats kept coming in over email. The thing is, the guy who sent the threats did everything right. He used an open relay in a foreign country after going through either a proxy server or VPN to disguise his originating IP address. And since it wasn't logged, they were stuck. They had no way of finding out who it was. Turns out it was a student at the school, and do you know how they caught him? He bragged about it to his friends. And his friends went, "Dude, not cool," and told on him. That's what happens. Even if you make a Facebook post private just to your friends, if even one of them thinks, "Hey, that's just not right," and informs the police, you're done. And then, of course, it's possible that one of your Facebook friends is actually a cop or even a federal agent. But as Naked Security points out, this is the sort of thing we all have to worry about, not because of crimes, but because of other things like getting fired or not getting hired. Quote, "When we say be careful what you post, we're talking to the non-criminal element. What we post on the internet might not get us jailed, but it still lasts forever and can haunt us just when we least need it, like when we're looking for a job." Wise words from Naked Security. Not so much from Andrew Hennells, so deserving the title of this week's Idiot Extraordinaire. Well, that wraps up this one has Stinkburger written all over it edition of the Bogosity podcast. As always, you can come to forum.bogosity.tv to read the show notes and join the discussion. This podcast depends on you to keep going, so please donate using the links on the website or at patreon.bogosity.tv. And feel free to join in by sending a question, statement, news article, or rant to podcast@bogosity.tv. You can even stick it in an audio file if you want. Thank you for listening. Until next time, here's a quote from Edward Snowden. "I don't want to live in a world where everything I say everything I do, everyone I talk to, every expression of creativity or love or friendship is recorded. The Bogosity podcast is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 3.0 Imported License.
Bogosity.
Do you want answers to creationist claims against evolution? Would you like to know more about evolution yourself, or even engage creationists more directly, with actual peer-reviewed sources to back you up? My book, How Evolution is Scientific, is designed to show the basics of evolutionary theory and how it is so well supported using the scientific method. It's impeccably sourced, with references to the actual scientific material, and is arranged using the creationists' own criteria of what is scientific. Using their own arguments against them, see how evolution is scientific, but creationism is not, based on observations, accurate predictions, logic, and evidence. Get answers to common creationist claims, and even a primer on abiogenesis, the start of all life. It's all in my book, How Evolution is Scientific, available at Amazon and on Kindle, EPUB, and PDF as well. Get How Evolution is Scientific and never be taken in by creationists again.